You may have got us one time, but look what we added to the collection. The new APW Heavyweight Champion, the 3-count Heavyweight Champion, the gifted one big time, y'all. On August the 20th, all the games over, we ain't playing no more. We're coming to whoop y'all ass by any means what? By any means what?
Hey, let me tell you something real quick. All right. Last time we was all fun and games. We came there having a good time. We didn't get the mission accomplished. Tonight, I got the mission accomplished. August 20th, we get the mission accomplished and we get it back in blood. Jobbertears South, we're coming to Brooklyn with one thing on our mind. Vengeance. Prolific, watch your back.
By any means necessary, suckers. By any means necessary.
No chance, so that's what you got.
Jobber Nation, welcome to another episode of the Jobbertears podcast. As always, I'm Janelle from HR. Here with Sir Wilkins and Mrblacc. Man, oh man, that was funny as fuck. What?
Son. All right. You know A&E has the new biographies, right?
I'm glad. Okay, I wanted to talk about it.
I gotta watch it. So I missed what was the first episode of this?
So the first episode, so if those that are watching a live feed and things like that, if you haven't already watched A&E Sunday nights, it's like wrestling. It's really good. So A&E they start off with Biography, and the first one was Undertaker. The one that just passed was William Goldberg, which was actually really good. So I wanted to talk about it. And then this week's episode, I think, is the Bella Twins.
Okay.
And so they have that, and then they still have Edge, they still have Rey Mysterio, they still have WrestleMania 1. They still have a few other episodes that they have for the season. So that's the first hour. So that typically is like 2 hours. So I think it's like 8 to 10, I think. Mm-hmm. And then that 10 to 11 is their Rivals show, which is right after that. So the first episode
it's a complete not from the network. It's a new thing.
A complete. So on the network they had rivalries.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
They
had rivalries, right? But they were like kind of like the old school ones because I think they had Rick and Dusty, or like they had Steamboat and Mach. Yeah, right. So they had old ones or different ones. So this one it's very similar, but it's none of the ones that they talked about on the ones on the network, because that first one I think was Vince and Austin, and they did like 2 episodes of that one. Mm-hmm. So the first episode of the Rivals was actually Brett and Sean.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was really, in actuality, I thought it was really good because you really understood, like, Brett is still salty about a lot of shit, and I'm going to get into that when I talk about William Goldberg's biography.
Oh, I want to talk about that because I finished watching it today. So people listening, and for my brother.
Shout out to Gene, 47 today.
If you can download the A&E app, and it doesn't. You don't have to pay.
Oh, good.
And you can watch it. So you just watch commercials.
And it's on demand. Yeah. So that's how
you just have to watch commercials when you do it.
So so the first episode of Rivals was Brett and Sean, and then the one that just passed, which I was super hyped about, because to me, one of the best, if not the best storylines build-ups of all time, which was Undertaker and King. And then I don't know what this week's episode is coming up of, but going to the biography about William Goldberg.
Okay.
Why is he salty for?
So before
Brett is upset.
So before we go into it, I do want people to, because most of us are wrestling fans, watching wrestling for years, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This biography, to me personally, and I want to know how you feel about it, was very honest.
It's very personal.
It was?
Because you're hearing it from the horse's mouths. You know, like, and it's a different way, because you really saw, Brett, how, he felt. And actually, I really love that they had TJ on the episode.
TJP?
For the Rivals. TJ was on the Rivals episode with Brett and Sean, and he played a huge part in how they actually began. That whole scene on that Raw, when they hugged it out, low-key's because of TJ.
TJ?
Absolutely.
Natty TJ?
Absolutely.
Really?
He was the catalyst of that.
Yo, he really that nigga.
Yeah.
Wait. He was the catalyst of Sean.
He was the catalyst of Sean and Brett.
I want to watch it.
Together.
Why?
Coming together.
Right, let's ruin it.
It's fine. Spoiler alert, guys. No, so basically, years had passed, and, TJ was just on some, like, yo, like, what really happened? Like, what's, like, do you guys talk? What happens? And he's
to
like,
who?
no.
Who did he talk to?
To Brett first. And then, so he did
both.
both.
Because Brett's with Natty.
Right.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
But he actually asked both sides. So he spoke to Brett about it. And then he was just like, nah, I don't talk to him. And then Sean, because when he asked him, Sean's born again Christian, loves God, all that shit.
I love Sean,
no
man.
drugs, no booze, no nothing. So he's in the right state of mind type of shit.
Yeah.
So when he asked Sean about it, he was just like, I've been wanting to talk to him for 15 years. Like I've felt a way about how everything went down, and I always felt like he never, he doesn't want to talk to me. So TJ took what Sean said and said, okay. And then he spoke to Brett, and he said, but what if I told you, like, Sean wants to talk? And then he basically tells him, give him my number. So TJ gives Sean the number, but Sean's so afraid to call.
Of course.
Because he's like, yo, I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know what to do. And then they ended up crossing paths. And they ended up having like a 2-hour conversation, like face to face together.
That's even better.
Like he
That's
came,
much better. Yeah, you're right.
like Sean came over, like Sean saw him in catering, and Sean like tapped over him and was like, do you mind if we can talk? And then they just spoke, and then that actually, like I said, was the catalyst. That all led up to what we saw on that Monday Night Raw, where the both of them had spoke in the middle of the ring and hugged it out. So really, TJ
that
needs
nigga,
the
B.
flowers for that, because
I mean,
he really wanted to, I think subconsciously, just to fix that for both sides, because his love for Brett, and then the respect and love he has for Sean. He just was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why is no one still talking, type of thing.
So I understand Brett a lot, because even though I think he's boring as fuck, I do understand where he comes from a lot of things. Because I'm kind of the same way. I'm big on principle. And I think Brett is that's Brett's mentality.
Brett is the definition of like, listen, it's cool and all, but for me it's the principle.
Yeah, so I think that's what it is for Brett. And so we make fun of it like, yo, why are you still crying about the Goldberg thing?
Nah, but he's like really like.
But he mentioned it in the biography. So the one thing about the biography, it was very honest. Because remember that they had the streak on that special on the network, which was really good because they had Kevin Nash on it. But I felt this was more intimate. Yeah. Because Goldberg did a lot of talking and told his point, but Eric Bischoff was on there. And then also they had Paul Heyman and they had Jim Ross. And they gave this different perspective on it.
It was from so many different point of views, but it was all about the same thing.
Yeah, because it was like, for instance, Eric Bischoff basically said, Goldberg can't wrestle really well, but we're going to feed these him motherfuckers because this streak is hot.
Okay, that's smart, yeah.
So then, like, you actually talked about us with Jade. They hit a wall.
So after watching the biography and seeing the effects of what a streak like that can do, they have to stay. She deserves better than what she's getting. And it's not even, and it's not a, because, I'm going to get the, oh, you hate AEW thing. Oh, why you don't want to support the black woman that's, being, 52 and whatever the fuck she is. It's bigger than that. She's at a point where she deserves a storyline. She deserves something where, because somebody had posted on the Facebook group, like, oh, Jade's reign is greater than Mandy Rose's on NXT. And I said, no. I said, in actuality, Mandy Rose's title reign is better because she's had actual storylines. She's had actual, like, it. Let me tell you, if you have not watched NXT Stand and Deliver from WrestleMania weekend, where she defended against, I think it was a Fatal 4 match. Yeah. When good. I tell you, being physically there and seeing, like, Mandy, like, the stories they were telling in the ring, like, like, the shit is different.
But you have to understand, Jade is Jade. So let's put that away. People are not going to like Mandy Rose because Mandy Rose is not an indie darling. That's one. She's big on sex appeal. That's two. And then they're looking at Mandy Rose WWE Raw. Mandy Rose WWE
They're not looking
SmackDown.
at her as the only person heading an all-female fucking stable.
Yeah,
like,
and then they're not talking about how much of an improvement she's made in the ring because she's not the underdog. You got to understand, when you're not the underdog and when you're somebody that people see like, yo, this is the bad chick. you're not given any leeway. So now that she's in NXT, and this is going back to what Janelle is saying, nobody's showing her love, even though she's putting up quality matches up.
I think the difference between Jade and Manny Rose is Kobe. Because everybody doubted Kobe at first. Because Kobe was coming off the bench. Kobe was not Kobe. It took him a while to become Kobe.
Yeah.
Jade is that first round prospect who's hot off of college or high school and everything like that. But,
she's not Baker Mayfield.
But
Baker Mayfield,
Loki.
You love football.
But
I do. I can't wait for my fantasy league.
But the thing about Jade is, because she is the hottest person there, no one's challenging her.
But then it goes back to you're right, and this is why I love the documentary that they had, and I'm telling you need to watch it.
It's a definitely like, I'm not
Eric
a Goldberg fan.
Eric talked about that because he was like, listen, we were feeding him, and the streak was hot.
Yeah,
that's why a couple weeks ago I was like, yo, this motherfucker was hot in the Attitude Era. No, we got this. That streak was putting butts into seats, and JR talked about it, how hot he was. Paul Heyman said it. Everybody was saying it.
I get it,
but I get why. So then it's going to what you guys are saying. The streak got up. He was put over Hogan because Hogan was like, yo, this is great. This is something dope. Hogan was the one.
Hogan was the one that put him over.
Hogan was the one that said Goldberg needs to beat me.
He's the next. He's
next up.
He's the next up, and I give him that one.
So then the issue was arise that Bischoff said it. Now that you're at the top of the hill and you're dealing with big dogs now, you got to have quality matches. That's one. You got to have these quality storylines that are lengthy. Because I'm a Goldberg fan. I love the streak. I will always talk about it. But let's pull it back a little bit. I'll pull back the curtain. The matches were like 10 seconds.
Exactly.
The matches were like 20 seconds.
Exactly.
Sometimes a minute.
Exactly.
So there was nothing going on there, and you're not really telling a story. So then the streak is like, damn, B, like okay, and then. Fans being fans got fickle like, yo, what else you doing? What else you doing, B? So you put at that mountaintop, what do you do? What now you got to get, because it's like this. You put out that first album, you sold 2 million, 3 million. The second album, all right.
Sophomore slump.
What we doing? Could you say Goldberg was the 50 cents?
No.
He was like 50 cents. He ain't had them.
But
no, but 50, even after the fact, I felt like 50 kept like reinventing certain things about himself.
Okay, go.
That kept him going in, whether it was in the music or it just in general. Like he ended up investing in projects and things like that made sense. Like with Goldberg, it was like what Goldberg did was he realized he was like, fuck that. WWF bought WCW. I'ma sit these next 2 years and they gonna still pay me type of shit. But he ain't want none of that shit.
But
and
you
I
know
was
the
like,
difference?
damn.
Like I feel like one of the greatest streaks that no one talks about is Asuka streak.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna explain to you why. It's easier to have a streak when there's a wrestler who can wrestle. What I mean by that is you can always circle back to old matches that she's had, because certain people she put on bangers with. Where if the person needs to lose a streak, you could go back to, like, I compare it to the Patriots and the Giants. When you go back to that week, when they almost beat the Patriots in the regular season, they went back and won a championship. When you have a quality ring general, you could always circle back and say, hey, who was the person who was hot right here? We could circle back and make them lose to them, like her and Charlotte. You understand?
And you know what?
No, it's a good point.
That's actually the best point about a streak I've heard.
Because it makes sense. Because
Say that again. So you're saying, and I want you to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah.
You're saying the only way to have a streak
is when you have a wrestler who can wrestle. Because
explain that why.
What I mean by that, I'm in training right now, right? You as a person who can wrestle, you could lead the other person in the ring. You could be the ring general. You could tell little. I'm swinging back in the current. Shout out to Santi. Santi said that, shout out to Law. Law said that he was in the ring one day and the veteran said, take a walk. What does that shit mean? Take a walk meaning that how that going around the ring so the veteran could get into the crowd. Like, little stuff. Jay does not do that. Because
Jade
she's
can't
on top.
do that.
She can't do that. Now, Asuka could take like You know, something like a Manny Rose at first. Manny, do this, that, third. You do this, make your shine, this, that, third. Just barely beat her. And then you could circle back around.
did a lot to make a lot of people look good, actually, when you look back.
Circle back around and said, who can defeat her? And let's go with this person.
So I want to talk about, you raised a good point, and I want to talk about something that it was very interesting what Eric Bischoff said. So they were so once again, they were talking about how they built up Goldberg, but now he has to have quality matches because you can't just steamroll superstars.
How do I make this believable?
Yeah. So they put him with Brett. After the streak was over, they put him with Brett.
And Brett took him under his wing and was training with him. And that's I'm so glad you brought up Eric.
But the thing about it, there's two sides to it. I want you to talk about. I'm gonna talk about Eric Bischoff's side, and I want you to talk about what Brett said. Say what Brett said.
Yeah. So Brett is still listen.
Salty.
If there's anything,
understandable.
If there's anything Bret Hart is salty about, it is not about that fucking screw job in Montreal. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. He has buried that shit. What really grinds his gear is that fucking match, Starrcade 99. So that's why it's so funny, because literally I watched the A&E thing and I was like, yo, how the fuck did Starrcade 99 even look like? Like what? So me and Mikey tried to watch it. So we turned it on and watched the So that's why I said I recommend watching Starrcade 99 again, and then watch the Nitro right after that. That shit, it's like, what the fuck was y'all even thinking about in the 99 and the 2000s? But Brett's take is still like, bro, and you can see in the match, he never checked on him. And to that point, Brett had a point in that. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you guys are in the ring and anyone that trains and things like that, there are just certain things that you do and you check on your opponent. You ask certain questions. And William Goldberg was on 150 miles per hour. Didn't give a fuck. Because I didn't even realize the concussed part. I thought it was the kick that concussed him. It was when Brett did the figure four on the pole. Goldberg was supposed to hold his leg so that he had leverage and that he didn't bust his head up. Goldberg held his foot, but then let it go. That's what gave him the concussion. This is
why you put streaks on veterans.
I want to get to what Eric Bischoff
So when that happened, because Bischoff's point is valid as fuck. So when that happened, then he was dazed, and Brett talked about it. He's like, yo, I don't really remember. Like, everything is really foggy after that. And then because it literally was that spot, and then they went back in the ring, fucking Goldberg kicked him, then spear him, and then the fuckery happened. So that's why I was like, if you watch the match, because somehow, some way, the referee gets knocked down. Then fucking Piper comes out in a referee shirt and fucking declares Bret Hart. Because I was like, how the fuck did Bret Hart walk away with that title still? Rowdy Piper came out, declared him. Goldberg declared Bret the winner. And then that's how the next night on Nitro, Bret ended up still with the title.
And that's Bret's fault.
It was wild.
No. Let me get, because it's gonna go to your point.
It's gonna go to that.
So that was Bret's point in that documentary.
Yeah.
So then Eric is like, this shit is on Bret.
Yes.
Basically. And then he said this, which goes to your point that you mentioned earlier. He said that, listen, Bret's supposed to be is supposed to be the best in the world from what we know.
Teaching and all that stuff.
And teaching, technical wrestling. He's considered one of the best. He's the kind of guy that can have a classic match with a broom.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to take lead the match, basically. And it's so, if you're the veteran in the ring, I put you with him, you're not supposed to get hurt. Yeah. You're supposed to make sure that this happens. So these are the two sides of the story. Where you get Bret's side, where it's understandable because, like, yo, you just cost me $12 million.
Yeah, it was some millions
of dollars over 3 years. Right. Boom. I put that to the side. Eric says, hey, sorry, guys. You're supposed to be that guy in the ring, and you weren't that guy in the ring. You're supposed to be the ring general.
I'm going to say this. We both in wrestling practice, right? What does each trainer says? Protect yourself first. For example, I'm taking a hip toss, right? They said that, yo, take your bump properly, because if you do not, I cannot control you. And the fact that, like you said, I didn't know he did that. Yo, if you let your feet go, you should have did like something like this because you're the veteran. But you know better.
So to that
I understand
point,
that.
But to that point, though, he held his foot first. So he was in that motion and in that thought of like, okay, he got me, but then he let his foot go.
Right, but the
so
thing
he
about
didn't
it
know.
is, if you talk to every wrestler who will train you, make sure you're good because you can always trust your opponent.
Because, but then it also, it's like it's weird
it's
because
a catch-22.
It's a catch-22, and you really can't. Because
when Bishop said what he said, because basically Bishop was on something like, listen, Brett, take accountability for that shit too. Like at the end of the day, you knew that Goldberg could not wrestle. You knew that. You went into that match knowing, like, yo, this nigga is not a wrestler.
But the thing about it though, did you tell Goldberg to slow down? But then you ask another question: did Goldberg listen to you?
Right, like it's so many factors that you don't because you weren't like you weren't there.
Yeah, you had to be in that match because first thing they always say: you understand this, you've heard this before. Communicate in the ring, communicate in the ring, communicate in the ring, communicate in the ring. And the thing about it, if Goldberg, because Goldberg is going 150 miles per hour, like you said, so. Brett's supposed to put him in the hole, like yo, slow down.
100% true.
But he was already concussed, so he couldn't even. But he couldn't even want to do. He couldn't even do that if he wanted to.
Or tell Goldberg like, yo, I'm fucked up right now. But then
or tell the ref to tell him.
Exactly. So
it was just a fuckery. That's why I was like, go back and watch that match.
We don't know exactly
wild.
what exactly was said in the ring, and to be honest, it's everybody's fault.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's everybody's fault. But I recommend watching that documentary because
I'm watching.
When you watch it, and this was from my point of view, it was very intimate. It didn't feel like an overproduced thing.
It was a positive side of like a dark side of the ring would be.
Yeah, but then it also gave a lot of truth to the situation. Like they talked about Brock versus Goldberg at WrestleMania, and now. This is something that it instantly popped when I watched it.
I didn't even fucking realize that Brock jobbed at this nigga twice.
So I didn't even realize this, but that match was the coming out party for the IWC, for the Internet Wrestling community.
Yeah, because I didn't even realize that was a like. So looking back, I didn't realize like that was like both of their last matches. I didn't realize that the crowd, like it was a known thing. Like I was like,
so we were too young at the time. So this is an old, people probably around our age a little bit, or like in like the teens. It was when the internet's getting popping. So they already knew the rumors. It's like we know rumors about people coming out, so they already knew it. And they started chanting like, "Yo, you sold out. You sold out.
You both suck." Like the Garden took over that fucking match.
And I will genuinely say this after watching. I was like, "Oh shit, this is literally when the internet wrestling community came alive." That match.
Because every time they reference that match, they always talking about
the crowd.
Exactly.
Because I didn't realize it. Because that's what Paul Heyman. That's why it was good that Paul Heyman was in that episode.
Great, he was
because
great.
Paul Heyman talked about that time because he was like, everybody. It was in the known backstage that this was Goldberg's last match, and then Brock wasn't coming back, and they knew that backstage. But then when they realized that the fans found out and the fans knew, they took over that match. So that match, and it's crazy because Austin was a special guest referee, which he made it even more, I think, weirder for me. But it was just like, but there was no real match. Like the crowd really just fuck you.
They sucked it out because I remember that match because I watched that match. Like y'all gotta understand, and this person because we grew up together. I love Goldberg. I think Goldberg is dope. Goldberg, and the thing about I love he compared himself. He wanted to be like Mike Tyson. Come in, knock people out, and get the fuck out of here. What Mike did in his heyday. So that was his whole inspiration. So I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan. Everybody knows that. I love Mike.
The doc's coming out.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So I love the fact that he had that, and I was and they even said it on paper.
That's a fire match.
No, even better. You have Brock Lesnar versus Bill Goldberg, special guest referee Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Everybody was talking about that in school.
WrestleMania?
Everybody was talking about that in school. Like before it came, people was like, Brock versus Goldberg gonna be a crazy match.
That's the
he was hyped.
Like the mere fact you got that on paper, that was like epicness written all over it. It's like that match was so, and it ended up being a shitty match. It's like the Brothers of Destruction versus DX. That was on that level of shittiness.
It was
terrible.
It was
It
because
was
on
so
paper
bad.
it's fire.
But in watching the episode, it made me realize. I said Brock Lesnar has a level of respect for William Goldberg that I won't ever understand. Because for him to lose, even though they both were leaving, for him to lose at WrestleMania 20, and then when William decided to come back and wrestle for his child, and for him to still fucking lose, I said Brock respects the fuck out of this.
But the thing about it, they're from the same pedigree, cause.
Well, the football athlete turned wrestler.
Yeah, so it's that, and then
this
also
wasn't really my dream, but then it ended up being. But this is who I am.
And I understood where Goldberg was coming from. He was like, "Yo, this is business for me. I'm here to make."
Yeah, my nigga was like, "I'm here for a check and I'm out."
Yeah, I'm here to make money.
He made
be
that
the best
very
that
clear.
I can. Be the best that I can. Make my bread and get the fuck out. True. So, but you also got to understand when you're in a locker room full of people, this is my dream.
Versus this is just my job.
This is my job, and I'm gonna do the best at it. And the guy who's this is my job is making more money than me. And then
it's more over, has more TV time.
Exactly. JR even said this one thing, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. I didn't think about this. He was like, Goldberg came back to WWE, right? Mm-hmm. There's not many main event spots. So you took somebody's spot.
Or because you wanted to wrestle for your child.
Because you wanted to wrestle again for your kid.
For your child.
Or you know what I mean? And the one time I did look at Goldberg like, yo, in that very humane sense, and like saw a softer side was when he was like, yo, this ain't about me. This ain't about us. We do this for the fans.
Yeah, when it came towards the end of the episode, when they was talking about when he got into the Hall of Fame and, he did his speech and everything like that. And actually, I really loved them having his wife in the episode too, because you really understood, like, she had been with Bill for over 15 years and never really understood that side of his life, never saw that side of him, never understood the eagerness or the willingness to wanting to go back, because when they got together, he was on some like, I'm not touching that. That's like uncharted territory for me. So for her as his wife, and it's a side of wrestling that I think we don't really go into or really see on the other side, is the wives and the girlfriends of wrestlers, because that lifestyle is very different.
You need a show about that?
Maybe. Anybody interested?
But you also got to understand is wrestling is such this whole different animal, different world. Yeah. Like, for instance, I've dated girls while doing what we're doing right now, right? And they don't get it
at all.
They don't,
because they're like, "What are you doing? You're talking about wrestling, and this is that." And granted, I'm nowhere to the level of Bill Goldberg. Mm-hmm. We're not on that superstar side. None of us are.
We too niggerish, yeah.
But
okay.
At the end of the day, it's people don't understand something until they fully experience it. Like, when I first started dating a girl, I told them what I do, tell them what I do and who I do it with, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's cool. You do a little podcast. And then it's like, and then they start seeing, oh, you do a lot more. Then they go, y'all do viewing parties? Y'all got to sponsor shows? Y'all got to do this?
You got to go to shows?
Y'all got to do this, y'all do that. And then they still don't get it. Because they're like, what is this? And then they have to experience it themselves, which is what his wife had to experience.
Yeah.
Because she never been to a show.
She never understood that, like, that life of like getting on the plane, going to the show, getting off, getting back on the plane, going to an appearance, doing this, doing that. So, like, that's why I thought about. That's why I appreciate the A&E side of things when they are doing these like wrestling documentaries or things like that, because they're really going deeper than the average documentary would. So I appreciated, his wife being on there. You saw the progression of his, his son, being young when he first got back to now him being like in college now. So it's weird, like how fucking 6 years fly by and you'd be like, oh shit, that's like, a total different.
His son's still skinny?
He's like, well, he could be still like a little brolic or whatever, but I once again highly recommend A&E Sunday nights biography. Once again, this coming Sunday they have the Bella twins. And I want to see. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the rivals because I don't know which one, but I know that I think they are gonna do Edge and Cena. I do see that. Rivals, WWE, A&E, 222. Oh, you're gonna love this.
What?
Yeah, you're gonna love it. So, this week's Rivals is Rock and Austin.
Oh yeah, that's classic. We like.
Which actually, this is actually also the difference in that episode, and in that series is they actually have. I do love that they did get Freddie Prinze Jr. to kind of like host or moderate. He's a moderator, and they actually do it like a round table. So they have it's Freddie Prinze Jr., it's Tamina, it's Kevin Nash, Kofi Kingston, and JBL.
So they do all of them, all the rivalries, or just
so so it's like a round table, like kind of like how we're sitting here, and basically they're talking about the actual rivalry, and then you see the clips and whatever the episode, and they'll go through it, and it's cool because you get like. You have somebody like Kofi who wasn't in the company at that time but was a fan, so you get his fan perspective on it. You have somebody like JBL who was, backstage and understood the different things that were going on with certain rivals, and that was that. And then you have Tamina who, once again, you've been in the business, all your life, and your family's connected and things like that. So you get different point of views. You got Kevin Nash, who's fucking the one that changed the whole fucking game of wrestling and contracts and shit. So you have him. So like you have a really good, different, diverse set of people that can give their, comments and things like that. So it's a really dope concept that A&E's doing. So once again, Sunday nights, A&E, if you don't have the channel, you can download the app. Apparently it is free to stream with commercials, so that's really good. All right, what else is going on? Oh, so this week we found out who the mystery Ric Flair's last match will be in Nashville during SummerSlam weekend.
Yo, wrestling is like cocaine for some of these wrestlers, B.
Were we not talking about that before we started recording? That high?
They're addicted to this shit.
That
B.
high?
Listen, you've been in the ring. That bump is addictive.
It's not even that. It's the and I get it. It's like
the spotlight.
It's the
glitz.
spotlight.
It's
It's
the
being
spectacle.
number one. You have to understand.
It's
Rick is a legend.
Yeah.
And he enjoys being a legend. I remember once one of these guys I used to work with, he did a lot of work with NBA superstars. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me that the same way that men are addicted to like the spotlight and like I suspect the spotlight, the women are too. Because I am so and so's wife now. So when I walk into a restaurant, hey, let's get a seat for LeBron's wife.
Oh, listen, the perks of Vanderbilt probably.
You know what I mean?
Notch.
You get that perks, and you're addicted to it because you're Ric Flair. 70% of the population knows who you are.
Yeah.
Because you're a pop icon at this point.
Yeah, you are.
I walk into something, I'm Ric Flair.
If someone woos, that's it.
Yeah.
So, as announced for Ric Flair's last match, he will tag with his son-in-law, Andrade, to go against the team of Jay Lethal and Jeff motherfucking Jarrett. It is random as
But listen.
But that fucking, if you have not already seen, they did a fucking
Fire.
clip shit.
Fire.
And I said,
Fire.
Rick out here blading himself before,
Fire.
after, and during this match is
Fire.
actually obnoxious.
You know he's gonna bleed. He's gonna do his top rope move where he's about to jump off the top. And
Rick is about to do
him.
every Ric Flair move you have known to mankind. So he's gonna flip over the top rope. He's going to fucking woo. He's going to figure four. He's got like 5 moves that he's gonna do most, and then that's that.
But listen,
and then he's gonna probably cover Jay Lethal because Jeff Jarrett probably will not take that pin.
But listen, everybody on that card is getting paid bread.
Actually, the card, that whole show is
Exactly.
lit. I'm
Where
not
is
gonna
the
hold
show?
you. It's in Nashville.
Oh, I thought North
it's
Carolina.
No. It's during SummerSlam weekend.
Who's running the show?
I think them.
I think Conrad's
because you
helping.
have it's a whole bunch of dope matches. They have Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
They have Killer Cross versus Davey Boy Smith Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Which?
His son. They got Harry.
Oh, okay.
They got I don't want to say some Mexican niggas, but they got Lucha Libre matches. But it's like a real it's a real diverse show, and it's really I want to watch it. I'm not gonna hold you.
I am gonna watch
and it's
it.
not even just because it's Ric Flair's last match.
What day is it?
I think it's the day after SummerSlam. I think it's the Sunday because I think
we doing a watch party at your crib? Janelle Underground?
Lord, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. Cause I was like, wait, will I be here? Cause I low-key was trying to go to SummerSlam, but it's not gonna happen. It's okay. I'll be here.
I want to go to SummerSlam.
I want to go, but I like want to like fly in it. Like I told Dan, I was like, I want to just go and come back, but I don't think I could do that.
How much is the tickets?
We can talk about it after. No, like they're actually low-key having a hard time selling out the stadium because it's actually really huge.
No, I just want to know how much tickets to get to Tennessee.
Oh, when I looked, it was like 180 round trip on Southwest. That's why I was like, yo, I think I could pull it off. But then I was like, fuck, because then I'm going to do Impact. I'm going to go to the Impact show in Chicago.
When is that?
Like the week before Jobbertears. The Friday, the 13th. They got a show. Anybody in the Chicago area, the Impact is doing, I think it's Resurgence. Is that a trick question?
How much are tickets? I think I want to.
You want to go? We can go. We can talk about it after.
It's a Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Friday.
Come on, son.
That's why I can go, because I was going to do Friday stage. I was going to fly in. Originally, I was going to go Thursday and be like, y'all going to have to figure out how to record. But then my hair appointment's for Thursday morning, so I was like, fuck, I got to stay in New York. So I would go Friday, Saturday, and come back Sunday.
Okay.
Think about it. Sit on it. But
pause.
I'm over all of you guys. But no, but it's a part of SummerSlam weekend. They're also doing a roast of Ric Flair during that week. I think it's the Friday, or something like that.
Yo, that's fire.
So yeah, he's got a whole weekend full of shit towards Ric Flair's last match. But my favorite, actually, my thing was, and I sent it to y'all earlier today. So if you don't know, Conrad, because I found out only like recently, Conrad Thompson is Ric Flair's son-in-law. So Thompson, Conrad married Ric's eldest daughter, Megan.
How old is Conrad?
Huh?
Conrad's old?
Yeah, he's an older guy. Yeah, he's an older white male. Yeah.
Yo, Conrad
so Conrad and Jeff Jarrett actually do a podcast together.
He does podcasts everybody.
So, but the clip that I had sent to y'all was it was directly right after the whole them jumping Ric Flair in the parking lot with a Crockett. And I was like, what is going on here? And then Conrad goes, I don't even want to do this episode. I'm like selling the fuck out of all of this shit. And I was here for all of it. So the little things that they're doing for the match, I can appreciate. So that's exciting. I mean, Ric Flair in his last match. I mean, come on. Really, after Orlando, after you and Sean, that is it. But that to me is your last match. And I'm going to keep it at that. But what else is going on in the wrestling world before we get into this week in wrestling? Trying to think. So as last week we were talking about kind of like breaking news, but then it became a rumor. But now it's like it's gonna be a thing. Who the fuck knows? About Raw going back to TV 14.
So I saw SummerSlam was TV 14.
Correct. Yeah. So if you look on the Peacock, if you look for the SummerSlam like button and it's like for this year's SummerSlam, it does say TV 14. So. But with TV 14, it doesn't always necessarily mean is you gonna see bra and panties. You're gonna see. I don't think that's the realm they're gonna go in. I definitely think the promo intensity may increase. You may see
scripted wise
different, or maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. What are your thoughts though on SummerSlam being TV 14? Like, how do we?
Well, it's a last man standing match, right?
Yes.
So I think that's the main reason why, because they're trying to go the next level with stuff. So what I read was that TV 14 is not based on AEW. I still say AEW played a factor, but
I don't.
But Janelle 9 out of 10 might be right.
Yeah.
So the main reason why was because they lose their audience between 12 and 18, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or 13 and 18.
Right.
That's when the kids stop watching.
That is true.
Between those ages. So they're thinking, hey, we got to go back. Let's do TV 14 because it's going to grab the audience that we need. Because they're strong, older audience around our age, and they're good, the younger audience.
Yeah.
But that in between is for the future. Because if we can still maintain that older audience, 12 to 14, whatever the age is, we'll get them. They stay on.
That is true.
They get married. They have kids.
Yeah.
Their kids come to the show.
It's a cycle.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do business-wise on that. So I think it's a good idea. And also because I think it's going to be a more brutal last man standing match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
which I am a fan of. But
to them, they're saying that this is going to be the end, the finale of Brock versus Roman. And really, if you go back, and that's why I have an appreciation actually for WWE's like production. And I know we talk about it a lot for when, you know, AEW gets towards their pay-per-views, and it's very, I don't want to say lackluster, but it's very hit or miss with the videos and like the video promotions. But WWE does a very, very solid job, because even like this week, like I did not watch the beginning of Raw, so I didn't understand the whole how now Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch is happening at SummerSlam shit. But it makes sense. It's a year from when she took the title from her. So all of that kind of makes sense. They literally been planting the seeds the past year.
It was the bigger picture.
And it's been a really good build up. And what they did on Raw, which is what I appreciated, is they literally gave a video package of that whole build up, the whole like different promos, different things that they did, different moves that they did, different things that they said, and it actually got me hyped to actually watch it, because I'm just like, well, I've seen these bitches fight more than once now, so now I'm kind of tired of it. But I'm not, because
I've seen these bitches fight more than once.
well, yeah, because they did SummerSlam, and then we saw them at Mania, and then and, I mean, they've been in triple threats together and shit like that. But it's literally what WWE I think has gone back to is what WWE's gone back to is like that whole like long rivalries and an appreciation for that, because you know, even with, you know, Seth and Cody, I promise you, if Cody was not injured, they were going best of 7. Hands down, they were going best of 7.
I mean, they do have
and those
beef,
are
though,
either 5 or 7. They were going either way on that route, but it's those things that you remember. It's, you know, like if I close my eyes and I think about, what's one of the biggest women rivalries in the last like 5 years? The first thing I'm probably gonna think about is Bianca and Becky. I mean, outside of Charlotte, of course, and here and there, but like I would think about how they crafted such a story for both women, because you got Becky, who went from Becky 2 belts to a mom to going off TV for 18 months, then to come back and win in 26 seconds, to then become big time Bex, to, you know, that evolution of her, even from being the man and transitioning into big time Bex. You have that story, and then you have Bianca Belair, who, you know, once again came from NXT, never winning the NXT women's title, by the way. Came from that, came up to the main roster, proved herself. Not only she won the Royal Rumble, she was the last person in Survivor Series. She was one of the first black women to main event WrestleMania, to then winning both WrestleManias back to back the last 2 years. So like the stories that they've literally created for both women is just top notch,
and that's defeated all the 4 horsewomen.
Correct, except for Charlotte. So so dang. When I say that, and this is why I get frustrated with how they do Jade, because it's like you have somebody that you can do the exact same thing, and you don't do it. You feed her. After that, you start recycling bitches. And then, and honestly speaking, actually, I don't know who's worse right now, her or fucking Thunder Rosa, because Thunder Rosa ass is been tagging with fucking Toni Storm, and I'm just trying to figure out what are we doing with Thunder Rosa, because I'm like, I got next week on Dynamite her facing another Asian girl that I have no clue about, I have no idea about.
They fought her they fought overseas.
Okay. They got Adrian Neville defending the title everywhere but AEW.
That's the point. Because
but then it's not an AEW, but it's not an AEW then it's not an AEW title, really. Like it's the same how I feel like how they've been literally mixing the ROH things, and it's just like,
the thing about
like for me, it even goes to FTR. It's like, and it's not a shade to them being one of the best tag teams right now. But how do you present that on a platform that they're not the champions of? Like, I don't like there's a disconnect for me there. Like, I just don't. That part of it, I'm like, I get the greatness. I get them, you know, getting the belts in different places, which is really cool, and it really adds to their legacy. But when you're on the platform of a company that you do not hold the titles for, it doesn't hit the same. So that's where I'm like, granted, I'm proud of them. I'm glad FTR. I'm glad the fans are now really helping push them, because that's really what I think is helping towards that. But them still not as AEW tag team champions is really the missing puzzle piece for me for when you claim that you're the best tag team right now.
I think that's coming. I do think that's coming.
Then again, I kind of feel this way. I feel everything is just
Is it because they have, hold on, I didn't mean to cut you off, but then you have the 2 out of 3 falls for ROH's pay-per-view, which we'll do the predictions for today.
But I think they're going to win that.
I think the Briscoes are going to win.
But I think they win that match, and then they go on to... No.
I think the Briscoes will win.
I think the Briscoes win, and they take the
Because
AEW
to be honest, and listen, Tony, if you're listening, because I kind of hope you do sometimes, you need to they need to be separate entities. You got to treat them like if you're going to do the random wrestling matches on ROH, because that's what they're known for. Like, that's not a problem. They've done the storylines here and there, but ROH was the place where you saw dream matches and you saw things like that. So that makes sense.
But the streets don't want to hit me.
But the thing about, listen, I'm going to say this. Overall, what I'm noticing is this way. Tony Khan don't know how to organize shit. Because what I realize is a lot of stuff looks like he just said, hey, we doing this 15 minutes before, and they shot it. For example, you had Jade and the rest of them with that whole no. 3 of them together.
You had had the flyer for the trios match, and then during the segment backstage, Tony Schiavone goes and says, "Well, Chris Statlander, you are no longer in the match." Yeah. And I was like, "What?"
It was so weird, and like them 3.
What are you talking about?
Them 3 interaction was so awkward.
So awkward.
I'm looking like.
Because the only charismatic person in the fucking shit was Willow.
Willow.
God damn it.
I'm looking like it's awkward.
The only person that can be bubbly and get a pop and
just
fucking
they
Willow.
don't have any mic skills.
Awkward. And then on top of that is when I watch other segments, it's just like everything don't feel fluid no more. Is you complain about sports entertainment, but you doing sports entertainment shit. Like the whole main event.
We go.
I have nothing wrong with sports entertainment.
Oh no.
But my thing is this way: you becoming more and more like WWE. Like I feel like, yo.
And you know what the thing though is? There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that because anybody in wrestling knows wrestling's recycled.
Right.
Things happen all the time. It's
but
nothing
wrong with that.
wrong
It
with
does not
that.
feel unique. It feels very...
Well, it feels like, like when you have a canvas and you just throw shit on it. That's what that feels like.
Nothing feels very complete. Nothing. And even when I be watching, like the little stuff, it'll just be like, I feel like I'm playing a video game and you're fighting like in a fighting game. And next thing you know, like you fight a computer and someone press start. New challenger. That's how I feel about watching AEW. Like,
shit. You know what? That makes sense because that segment with I didn't even fucking understand why they fucking spat and they fucking Aleister Black spits in Sting's face after fucking Brody King fucking picked him up. I was like, why did you do that? What was the point of that? And then Miro appeared and I was just like, that's exactly how you just described
and
it.
I'm looking
New
at
player. New player.
But it's so they're like I've said this before and I'll say it again. Do they have storylines? Yeah, it's like a couple of little bit of storylines. Right. Like Jericho and Eddie, they have that going on.
Okay.
They have that. There's nothing else.
At all.
Oh, hold on. Before I say something, did Ricky Starks and no, they didn't come out for Keith Lee and
no.
You said Ricky Starks. No, Ricky Starks then did a fucking open challenge.
Open challenge for FTW. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to see what's the other storyline that's going on.
Nothing. There's nothing.
The Gun Club versus the Unsanctioned versus the Clan.
But then this is my beef because you had Luchasaurus with Christian, right?
Why did y'all fuck that up?
You had him with Christian.
Why?
Then Jungle Boy comes out, and then Luchasaurus turns his back on Christian.
You literally had a walking killer. You know how many toys you could have sold with Luchasaurus as black on black? You know how much segment you could have did?
You know how many niggas is upset because they was calling him Niggasaurus and now they can't no more?
Fire promo. You wasted all that money just to regress a couple weeks later. WWE booking.
Nah, the only way y'all gotta recover it is Jungle Boy gotta turn now. That's the only way you gotta recover that.
It still makes no sense.
Double turn. You
no, it does.
Yo,
it does.
I get it.
Only way.
I just feel like AEW, when I be watching it, nothing to sink into it, B. I feel like you get the hero from the sandwich, but I forgot the mayonnaise.
Oh, that was deep, B. That was deep.
That
He ain't put no salt and pepper and vinegar on it? So listen. So AEW is a dry sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
You go like
on a hero, and that's even
Cody was
worse.
there?
Well, Cody added structure.
And sometimes
That they don't like.
Sometimes it was too much mayonnaise. But guess what? Scrape it off a little bit.
First of all, side notes about Cody. Shout outs to Cody Rhodes winning the ESPY last night.
Scrape it off a little bit.
That's it.
Cody Rhodes won Best WWE Moment last night at the ESPN ESPYs.
So he's definitely become WWE champion.
Facts. Really, I think that's in his contract. So I ain't worried about that shit.
Shout out to Cody, because Cody's showing you this way like, yo.
Him and Brandy on the red carpet.
I'm sending away for you, MJF. Come. He's like Moses to MJF. TV 14, MJF coming over. Him and The Miz. That's
so
money.
Hold on. This is what I'm annoyed about. And you mentioned his name. Son, you rode the wave with MJF.
Where the fuck he at?
Set something up, did a bunch of shit. Now, I get it. You pulled him off TV. Cool. Why you not putting no Easter eggs into every episode of Dynamite? Or every other episode of Dynamite?
Because they're not there.
So make me go, yo, damn. We forgot about MJF.
Nah, we didn't forget about him.
We moved on. We are on something else. Then Raw's doing some stupid shit. Poopy with
what?
With motherfuckers talking about Mrs. Small Balls.
Yo, because it's actually a plug to push the new shirt he had. So that's why I thought it was funny. Because at first I had saw the shirt. I had saw the shirt the week before, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is this shirt about?
Yo.
And then when he pulled it out on Raw, I was like, oh. But Miz is always good for doing some dumb shit but turning it into fucking lemonade.
That's
so I'm not even mad about it.
Logan Paul.
And Logan Paul held his own in that segment
Logan Paul cutting better promos than niggas who've been doing wrestling for how many years? Yo, real talk.
That's just because
Logan Paul put y'all niggas to shame, B. All y'all niggas do is go to the gym, work on fucking fancy move. But now you niggas can't fucking talk. Because half you niggas is fucking awkward. You fucking talking to them. Come on. He put all y'all niggas to shame. Bad Bunny. Put y'all niggas to shame. Why these niggas come outside of wrestling? Put y'all niggas to shame on the mic, dogs. What the fuck y'all doing?
Well, you also gotta understand is there's a talent. There's a certain charisma you have to be a YouTube star. He's been doing it for a long time. He has that. Then you add the fact that his work rate for stuff outside the ring and just getting nice at something, you have to understand that to become a YouTube sensation, to get a million plus followers, to do every fucking thing that you have to do to move the needle within your channel means that you're on a psychopathic work rate and your work ethic is above and beyond. So he took that same type of work ethic and put it towards wrestling.
But then again, I get that. But my thing is this way. Matter of fact, I take that back. I was on a show, right? I blame this on Independent Wrestling for this, right? I was on a show Wednesday, right? Out in like
don't say where you were. Just you were on a show.
I was on a show Wednesday, right?
He's like, don't bury them.
I'm trying to make sure you get your bookings.
Right. In the Boondocks, whoever, right?
Don't bury them.
Great card. All the wrestlers put in their work. It was great wrestling.
Yes, great card. Great company.
And then I looked at the audience. They was not moving. They was not cheering. None of that. The only time they cheered when niggas did big fancy moves. So honestly, that's the era that we're in right now. And honestly, I have to take that statement back because it's looking like, yo, when I try to do a promo, y'all ain't feeling it. But yeah, when I almost kill myself,
No. So then you have to pull. I want to challenge that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Big moves do work.
Yes.
But that's fast food.
Yes.
So the promo that you cut, the character that you get, they may not get it at first, and then you start building it up. Let's look at the Logan Paul match with Miz at WrestleMania. Okay. As we watched it, we're like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then we start seeing the story come around, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We start seeing him doing like different types of things. We start seeing his character work develop throughout the match.
He did, yeah.
So that's home cooking.
Right.
So those big moves are fast food. But you can't eat fast food all the time, right?
You're right.
Home cooking is a whole lot better and a whole much healthier, and it sticks to the ribs.
But the thing with the home
Talib
cooking,
Kweli.
Bars.
Y'all didn't see that? What I just
Bars.
did there? That Kanye West song?
But the thing about in terms of that home cooking is that it has to be consistent too. Like you can't, and that's just more on the wrestler side.
Like
of
Zuka.
things.
Zuka
can
can't do
a He talks and like there only I swear there's a few people, handful of people that talk and promo at the same time. And
Zuka King and
Zuka King is one of those.
You see Zuka's belly. You see he can't do any top rope moves, but he's very charismatic.
Yes.
In his matches.
Yes. Very charismatic. Shout out to Zuka King, a job to himself. Fuck prolific.
Oh, okay. You just gonna
Fuck
say it
Isaiah
again?
Wolf.
Oh, okay. You're just gonna keep saying it. All right. But all right, let's keep going about what else is going on. Absolutely. Shout out to Zook.
Zuka King. Bam, sucker. Zuka King.
I wonder if like
he should have a comic book. Or his own like miniseries, like a cartoon. Zuka King. Bam, sucker.
He low-key is way too interesting, like real life shit. That it'd be funny to like see that in a comic type of shit.
Super side note. Well, you know wrestlers outside their gimmick, you looking like they be two different people.
But
sometimes
that one,
good,
that
sometimes
nigga
bad.
is the same. Like what you see is what you
definitely.
get.
Imagine him and Movie Mike having their own comic book series. Like they're like him.
Like a Batman and Robin type shit.
Discussion in Hitch. It's Batman and Robin.
Movie Mike be like, hey Zuka, let's go out here and make a movie.
Let's make a film.
And then Zuka's like, nah, sucker, we ain't doing that. Bam, boom, pow. Movie Mike.
This is very much a 90s vibe of a
Yes.
cartoon.
Yes. It could be a black exploitation movie.
Yeah.
Cartoon.
Yeah, but wrestling tropes.
That part is taken
Wrestling
too far.
tropes. You know, said like you go to the Booker man. I ain't doing the hot nigga shit, Booker
All
man.
this,
Oh my God! Oh my God, that's perfect. Hey, Booker Man, I ain't doing that hot nigga shit, Booker Man. And the movie Mike like, what you mean? We not gonna do the hot nigga shit?
Yeah.
Then Zuka King's like, that's for the suckers.
We
ain't doing it.
Mike and Ass is not doing no hot nigga shit.
And they walk away. Boom,
But
boom,
you know what it
bow,
reminds
boom,
me
bow.
of? It gave me Blank Man vision of like, remember the fighting sequences when it would be like pow, zoom,
And Black
plop.
Man get beat up. While the other dude
And
was
Black
that
Man-
nice. He got no credit. Get this cool Black Man t-shirt. He was like,
That's all I get.
yo,
That's
I've been
it.
fighting all his battles, B.
So I've been getting him out of trouble.
You know what's Black Man?
And they drive a Ford Tundra.
That's it.
Your
That's
imagination
it.
is.
Instead of like the whole like credit flag, they got the pro-black. I mean the Pan-African flag.
Yeah, they gonna have they drive on it with the Pan African flag flying in the wind. They go Zuka King, and Movie Mike.
The Adventures of Zuka King and Movie Mike.
That's it.
That would.
Bam,
That would
sucker.
work.
Let's make a movie.
Bam, sucker, cut. Yo, make sure you clip exactly this and then post that. But yeah, what fucking New Day dressing up as Viking Raiders? Is that?
It's cool.
It's okay.
It was better than when DX dressed as a nation.
Much better than when the DS Just As Nation.
Listen, for the time it was fire.
Nah, DX dressing as Nation.
That shit was
pretty
fire, son. Yo, listen,
Pretty
I don't care if I
Yo,
get pissed
if
for
fucking
this. For the
X-Pac
time it
as
was
Mark
fire.
Henry,
That shit was fire.
is forever funny
like,
to me.
Shout out to D'Lo
Forever.
Brown. In the concept of wrestling purposes,
Can't take that shit personally or take that shit offensively.
But outside of it, yeah,
It was racist.
it was racist. But like, I guess like you could get away with it because if you know how they really are, like, yo, nigga, they almost basically raped China, B.
What?
Whoa.
You forget when the nation had it like this in the ring? About to beat her
No.
up?
Yeah, they did.
don't remember that.
You forget when the nation locked DX and whoop her ass in the ring?
You don't remember that?
I vaguely remember. I remember.
Son,
I vaguely
no.
remember them whipping her ass. I don't remember her. Like,
It was four
stretched
black
out.
men beating on this white woman
see if
as
I can
she is held up.
Yep.
I don't
And I think
remember
The
the
Rock
held
was saying
up.
some disrespectful shit
The
too.
ringleader. Son.
The
Son.
Rock was saying some wild
Son,
disrespectful
y'all
shit.
always get y'all always get DX for dressing like them, but yet y'all think what the nation did. Storyline purposes. Violated China, son. Come on, son.
Humiliates China.
Come on, son. See, look.
Here he goes. First of all, Oh, she had on lime green nails. It was time.
Son, fast forward it. Like, yo, son, like, yo, fast forward it. Fast forward it.
Wait, okay. I wanted to see Rock come out.
No, he said some what? So.
Oh, Owen was with him too.
Zach.
Oh, was this building up to the SummerSlam ladder match?
China was so fine to me, son.
I'm glad she fixed that jaw though.
Nah,
that was
even with the jaw. You know, that shit was fine.
He said, China, you need some dick.
Fast forward, I'm telling you.
My nigga, how much fat? Oh, wait, no. That's a good place.
Come on. Had her on her knees, B.
First of all, shout out to China for selling the fuck out of this.
She's on her knees right now, guys who are not watching this. D'Lo Brown
You
and
too.
Owen Hart are holding her. Mark Henry's in front of her, her lover in the future. And The Rock is saying some disrespectful shit to her.
First of all, Mark Henry was
And he's holding her chin and making her look up.
just YouTube it, guys.
Come on, son.
Low-key
Come on,
rapey.
son.
This is
Low-key
mad
rapey.
rapey.
Low-key
Come
rapey.
on, son. Come on, son. Rapey stuff.
Her nails are on point.
Come
He
on,
said he was
son.
no way I'll kiss some trash like you, and they beat her up.
Oh!
And DX comes out and saves
All right,
her.
one episode. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a live reaction to some shit, to an episode. And I think what we guys, if you guys have suggestions of episodes that you guys want our genuine and natural reactions to, like message us and let us know.
Exactly.
It's something I've been wanting to do actually with Mikey for the longest. Because we'll be at home and watching shit. We'll be like, oh shit, and it'd be some old, like when we legit went back and watched that Nitro after that Starrcade '99. There was a whole bunch of fuckery that didn't make any sense. Fucking Medusa. Fucking was the cruiserweight champion. It was a bunch of shit going on.
Exactly.
But yeah, those are watching on live feed. If you once again have any episodes, SmackDown, Raw, whatever it is, Nitro, whatever it is, ECW, whatever it is, you guys want a genuine and honest reaction to clips or things like that, send it to us. Let us know.
Exactly, because
and we'll
shit
do
is
it one
wild.
episode. Cause
that's why I tell niggas, y'all forget what Nation did to her.
No, the whole
Angle was wild.
But
if
it's
you
great
but
TV,
but they
TV.
put the N-word in the locker room.
Come on,
they
dog.
sprayed it was Nation, wasn't it? DX, and then it was
Weakness.
No, it was the Hart Foundation.
Come on, son.
It was all three that played the race game all around.
Come on,
Oh,
son.
don't forget DOA was part of that.
But real talk, I know it's kind of crazy can't do that right now, but if you leave it just in the wrestling ring, it makes sense. Because that's how it is in real life. Tensions are real. Like people say, oh, we want to see that on television. No, when entertainment bleeds into reality, that's the best television.
But it also so the thing about it also it also spikes emotions.
Yeah, that's the whole point about, and I've always said that about wrestling. Wrestling at a point, the purpose is for it to evoke emotion, and when it does not, then there's a disconnect, and when that disconnect happens, then you don't like the shit, and that's just where it boils down to.
But
so do we
wait.
see?
I was gonna say this. Like, I think a lot of times that we get upset because y'all run these racist stuff. Right? We get that. We understand that. Whatever. But the person that racist against never wins at the end.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Booker T, Eddie, all of that. It's just like you run this racing angle. Should that be like, yo, this? I know you don't solve nothing, but like still though, like it makes more sense. Like even with the whole Nia Jax getting bullied by Alexa Bliss, and at the end Nia Jax won.
That shit was great, actually.
Nia Jax so fine.
And she's really nice.
So pretty.
Very nice in person.
What she smell like?
But
smells like beautifulful-ness. Like if that's a word, I don't know if that's a word or that's a smell, but I'm gonna make that up. She smells like beautiful, and she's so soft. Like I held her for a moment.
She probably bathed with warm water.
She brought warm water and like these different types of Epsom bombs or Epsom salt bombs.
Oh, side note, if you want smooth skin, like us dark skinned brothers, none of that hot water shit. Warm water. I'm telling you. The Irish Spring shit, stop using that shit. That's not for us brothers, B. You need something that give moisture back to your skin because we oily. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that Irish Spring dries you out.
Dries you out, B. Like, you go.
Yeah.
That's jail soap.
Is it?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, because
I mean,
I definitely want to
like,
call that
listen,
nigga like.
Listen, like, if you need to clean your sins real quick, Irish Spring, dog. So.
Wow. Nigga said the Lake of Minnetonka is Irish Springs, basically. The fuck? So do we see our lovely brother man of Dominic Mysterio turning on his daddy this coming Monday at the Garden or what?
Yes.
At this point, it's not even the Rays at this point. It's just the company. They made them so trash after the pandemic, B.
Who?
Who?
The Mysterio during the pandemic was fire, my nigga.
They're still good.
But it's still good.
The storylines is weak sauce, B.
Well, because now they're coming to the end of being together, so somebody gotta go.
The Judgment Day beefing with them is not that great. I just feel
Well,
like
it's Finn Balor.
Well, the Judgment don't do that. Don't do that.
Finn Balor is not good.
Don't do that. Even though Punishment Martinez has been holding it down.
Punishment Martinez been carrying that whole squad, son.
And the thing about
I
it,
will
is
give
that-
Yo.
Yo, Finn is just better when he's not scripted.
No, because, yes, Finn just needs
But
to
I
wrestle.
actually don't mind Finn in this like heel persona.
No,
you know.
Finn just needs to wrestle and have like 2 lines. He does not need to talk. And y'all keep giving Finn too much credit.
Listen,
This
Finn
nigga's not
bad.
Blockbuster.
Well,
When he
That
talks,
was
he's not
God
Blockbuster.
saving his career when he fucked up his shoulder.
well, actually,
Because
Seth
Finn
and
Balor
him
is
did
not
that.
on the mic. Finn Balor is to me what I could call an action star. Say a couple of words, have good matches. Every once in a while you cut a long promo, but not all the time.
He should never talk. He should talk here and there. Barely ever talk. Damian Priest has been holding this whole Judgment Day coalition down. And I can't wait for Rhea Ripley to come back.
Come on, man.
So fine.
Baby
so
Charlotte?
fine.
As if she, hopefully
so
she
fine.
can. She
So
knocked herself
fine.
out. Are you
So fine.
okay?
Yo.
But what else?
Just so strong.
I'm dead. I did like that they ended Raw with that Miz and Logan Paul segment.
Yes.
I did like that. That gave me, I don't know why it gave me Attitude Era vibes, but it did.
But then Ciampa came out.
Yo, but actually that's what I loved about it because that nigga's been popping up with Miz and just fucking niggas up mad random.
Miz.
And this shit is hilarious.
Damian Priest about to be a champion.
Who?
Damian Priest?
Well, yeah, because
One champion.
they
One-
definitely
1 year
push-
from now, he's about to be a
They
WWE
push
champion.
him to the either he got to win Money in the Bank next
I'm
year
gonna
or
say
something.
this. This
But I
may sound
totally
very
see that.
controversial, but I don't give a damn. Don't be surprised Logan Paul becomes WWE champion.
I don't know about that, but
Why do you say Logan Paul is about to become WWE champion?
He fought Floyd Mayweather. He basically made kind of like exhibition boxing hot.
So
Like you said, this man believe in manifesting stuff. His first match, fire. Him on the mic, fire. Hey, we want to get to the next generation of being on the internet, on these streaming platforms, everything. What's the best way?
maybe
You
I
put the
would
belt-
see 24/7 because that's what Bad Bunny did.
No.
So
the difference is, no offense to Bad Bunny, is Bad Bunny does not speak English. Doesn't speak English. He has the swag to it, but Logan Paul is what you want. You know.
I don't know if I want him as WWE champion.
So the reason
not
why
gonna hold
I
you.
don't think they would do that because it goes into that David Arquette place.
I think it's different.
No,
big dogs.
it's not.
I think it's very similar.
It's very similar because you can't risk that because he isn't a wrestler, and I understand where you're coming from. Where you talk about what he's done, how he's actually training, and blah blah blah, but you can't do that unless he goes unless he's wrestling for like 3 years consistently on the thing.
And I see Logan Paul more as the spectacle type of wrestler. Like if he's gonna do that, then it being a very full time.
So if that's the case,
and
I want
storyline
I
type
want to
of
try to
thing.
get the IC title then. Like,
No.
He's gonna get a title though, son.
If there
he
was
wins-
one, it'd have to be a tag title.
Someone said Logan Paul hold the WWE thing would cheapen the value. I don't think so.
It
because
will.
I'm gonna say this.
That's fair. That's how
His
you feel.
contract is 2 years, right? And they say in 2 years he put on bangers. What I mean by how that every time you go out there, he is money. His mic skills improve everything. Every time he's on screen, his shirts is selling. Everything you want in a superstar, he's doing that.
The only way he could do that if he is on Raw every single week But the thing about it, it's a stigma that he already has. And then you're looking at the history of the title. And that's the same way he's in that David Arquette. And I know what you're saying. I actually understand what you're saying, but he goes into that David Arquette type of thing.
Yeah.
The only way why we kind of let the Miz get away with it, and we gave Miz a ton of shit, was he did Tough Enough. He did a bunch of other shit before he became champion.
Yeah, that is because like people in wrestling are weird. Where like this is old school mentality. They ready to put you through the ringer, like almost injure you.
It's some fraternity
all the time.
shit.
Looking like that's the most stupidest shit ever.
But that's the only way.
That's how fraternities work.
Yeah, that's
how that works.
Logan Paul couldn't become champion.
Yeah,
Logan Paul can't become.
And then even with the 2-year contract, it's just let's say 4 matches a year, and those are the big fours. Because then you're a spectacle. I see him more as the spectacle type than it being a storyline, a champion, a battle type of thing. Because I don't know.
What I'm looking at is it sounds like WWE every so often they bring in these spectacles.
Yeah, because it is a spectacle.
Bunny,
yeah.
This, that, or third. Give them like a length of them of Pat McAfee just to sell extra tickets. That's what it sounds like. So basically, it sounds like instead of them putting them on the main event, taking someone else's main event spot, you put them on a lower card.
Just put them in a spot where you can have that entertainment value. Because and Pat McAfee actually is actually the best, the greatest example of that, because he went from having that feud with Adam Cole, which came out of nowhere, but then we were excited about it, and then he wrestled, and we were like, even though he didn't win, we were glued to the TV like, oh shit, Pat McAfee really gave it 110%. And then fast forward, and then when he had the match at WrestleMania, mad random, but it happened and it was a big thing. And that's why I said that Austin pop that second night was greater than the first one. And then now he has the match at SummerSlam with Corbin, which is it actually even is better because he actually has real life history with him because they were on the same football team. So like all of that stuff kind of leads into that, but like
I think
that's
they were
what
roommates
wrestling.
too.
Yeah. So but wrestling is that spectacle. Like you want to add that. Like think about it. Even back in the day when you had Mr. T, when you had niggas that sang "America the Beautiful," or you had special guest referees or ring bells or those type of things added to the value of what was already a spectacle.
I see what you guys mean though, but.
You want more for him, and that's okay too.
No, I see what you guys mean though. Expect them to be champions, this, that, or third. But who knows what happened in a couple of months?
Well, we don't know. We don't know. I don't think it should be done.
But all I'm saying is this way, right? And that's the difference. If you as a wrestling fan care about the sport, right, you should not be worrying about what someone did outside. What I mean by you choose, like, if this man is safety in the ring, he's putting on bangers, he knows the basics, he knows what you have to do. There's no difference if someone through the Indies doing the same exact thing too, if they both put in the work in. Because at the end of the day, I see what you guys mean. Hey, within 2 years going to be champion, that is wrong, blah, blah, blah. But I see the bigger picture as far as his personal journey.
But it also goes into David Arquette's place.
But the difference in him and David Arquette is, if you watch the documentary, what you did, David Arquette was not really properly trained.
And I understand that, and I get where you're coming from, but you gotta.
The thing though is like when you do things like that, because that's where they ran in with the David Arquette thing. Is when you put the title on them, then what?
It actually goes into that Goldberg thing. Because
what do you do with that?
You're not that nice in the ring.
So you put the title on Logan Paul. Then what?
Okay, so let's say that
it's like you get to the mountaintop and then it's like you don't got no way to come down.
So what if Logan Paul stays there for a solid 5 years? He actually is wrestling this, that, third, right? He's putting the work in. I'm talking about he had bangers with like Roman. He had bangers with Chad Gable.
You can't put him with Roman.
No. I'm just saying like a random time like bangers with Chad Gable. All the workhorses. He put on a classic.
5 years, yes.
Yeah.
But
like,
2 years, within 2 years,
but
no.
all I'm saying is this way, like, hypothetically speaking, it could happen. It could happen. If this man put in a solid 5 years of work, inside the ring, outside the ring. Speaking of that, we gotta talk about that random Titles O'Neil promo. That was mad random. But yeah,
it's Tampa. It made sense.
Okay, yeah.
So but you also gotta look at you also have to look at it like this. We still want wrestling to feel realistic.
Okay.
You still want wrestling to have a feel of realism.
Okay.
So you bring a guy in, yeah, he's done a little bit of boxing, but he's not a true athlete.
That's like Mayweather coming in for that WrestleMania match, and then they offer him a contract for 2 years, and you'd be like, "Yeah, put the belt on Mayweather."
And then put the belt on Mayweather. So
excuse me?
Yeah,
see?
yeah,
That's
it
what I'm
does
saying.
it makes yes, wrestling is not real,
Right.
but you want to make it look real.
Like, you can't put that title on. If you want to do that, Pat McAfee's like the first. I would put that shit on Pat McAfee first before
like
anybody
goes back
else.
to when Master P was trying to make the lead. You're a basketball player.
Yeah.
They put you in the box then.
It's not even that. It's just that you're trying to make this seem legit, a legit sport, regardless if it's orchestrated. Mm-hmm. So you're doing that. You're putting a title on him. You're like, damn, he's just a semi-decent boxer and a YouTube star.
True.
Where you have guys like the only person that would make sense was when Kurt Angle came in. Kurt Angle makes sense.
True. Dang, you're
Former Olympic superhero. Won the Olympics with a broken neck.
And it actually goes to them now outsourcing and doing the what's that?
NIL.
And them things with the college athletes, because they are actual athletes that they can mold and shape into it. And it actually, they're doing SummerSlam weekend. They're doing a tryout and inviting athletes, but also independent wrestlers to the tryouts, because Big E will be there as well during SummerSlam weekend. So
it's
that
for
actually is dope. It's for everybody. Yeah, they're opening up the tryouts to everybody for SummerSlam weekend. So like, if you are, once again, if you're on the indies and you've been working and you've been grinding, like look into the opportunities that you can get into. Don't always wait for the opportunity to knock on your door.
The best advice I have for you is look up old tryout videos. Because what I'm hearing in practice is just like, if you make one, let's say how that he does a roll, and you tell like, don't do it that way. If you're the second person, you do the same exact thing, you're out of there. So to everybody who's dead ass going to his tryout, look up old tryouts. Talk to your trainers.
Who said that? The same about Rhonda. And that was my issue. Because you out here having her being the baddest woman on the planet, but then Becky beat her. And then Liv cashed in on her.
Which is fine.
And then Alexa cashed in on her too.
Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's like
superheroes lose too.
Which is calling her superheroes a drag. But my thing though is that there's no progression though. Like, you continuously, you want to, she's a part of that spectacle aspect, bringing in a certain particular fan that may have not watched WWE product before, and that's fine and understandable. But there hasn't been no progression.
But that's the company's fault. That's not the wrestlers' fault.
That is both. That is definitely both sides. That is both sides of the spectrum.
I'm just talking in general, not just on Ronda part. It's just like,
oh, I'm talking about Ronda.
Hey.
Well, actually, that's in general, like, because
Right.
it takes two.
Right.
Like, it goes back to when we used to talk about, like, creative. And, people always getting hell-bent on, it's creative's fault. And it's both sides, too. Like, you have a right to be like, I don't want to do that shit. For instance, they wanted to censor Austin for WrestleMania. They didn't want the middle fingers. They didn't want the beard. They didn't want half the shit Austin is known to do. Austin said, I don't give a fuck. If y'all want me here, this is what the fuck I'm gonna do. And that's that. Like, you get to a point where, and I understand, like, certain points of, like, how far you're in your career and things like that. You don't want to step on toes. You don't want to do certain things. But one of the biggest things that a lot of, wrestlers that we've interacted with, whether they've been old or young or whatever, they've always said, like, speak your mind. Like, don't.
But she does, though. Because that's why Liv Morgan got the title.
Correct. Because she said, she said, if I'm going to drop it to Liv.
No, but she also said it doesn't make sense the way they were going to do it before.
But it also like, one thing I learned by watching Vince McMahon and hearing stories about him is just like, all right, cool. You don't like this? What's your alternative? What's your plan?
Right.
Because sometimes people say, I don't want to do this, that, and third, blah, 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 but yeah, they don't come in with nothing. Or sometimes people...
They don't come up with other alternatives and solutions.
Like,
I'm all about solutions,
right.
So if you don't come to me with a solution,
like,
what are we
certain
talking
times
about?
people will complain, say that, I'm not getting this, that, and third. But yet, when you talk to them, it's like, all right, cool. Why is this person getting, because this person did this, that, and third. Are you doing what that person is doing? So a lot of times a lot of like, or sometimes even with the person where like they have self-doubt. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to me. You understand?
It's an interesting world. Okay, real quick, because we're at the end. AEW Fighter Fest Week 2, Night 1. Highs and lows, lows and highs. Go.
Let me go. My biggest high was Yuta versus that who's that that tag team match.
I was like, what?
Will Yuta, John
Chucky
Moxley
T
versus Best Friends. That was my high. My low was the main event. That death match was shitty. It was absolute garbage. I hated everything about that fucking match, and I was super excited about that match, and I'm tight.
So he's more upset because he was invested.
Yeah. Son, I was mad. Like
he was upset because he was invested.
So we recorded right before the match happened, right? Mm-hmm. For Complex Unsanctioned on Spotify.
Cheap plug.
So I'm talking about this shit. I was like, yo, this is tough. They got a death match. It's a blow-off match. This is going to end the feud on a great fucking way. Blah, blah, blah. Then you got a fucking Shark Tank above the ring, which wasn't above the fucking ring.
It really low-key wasn't a Shark Tank either.
It was in the crowd. So that pissed me off. Then the match was absolute garbage. And I don't care what nobody said. Y'all can say this shit was great, fire. I'm not a deathmatch guy, but I'll still enjoy a match. And that shit was garbage.
Compared to him versus Nick Gage.
Exactly. And I love both people. So why did y'all put up absolute garbage? Death matches can't be on TV. That's point blank.
No, because him versus Nick Gage was a good match.
No.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was okay. Cause you know what
you
it is.
You cannot compare death match to a regular match.
Correct, but that's why you can say it's okay because they probably could have done 100 other things that they would have done in a regular death match in an arena.
Nigga,
with
put
no
these niggas in
TV.
cages. Did a cage match. Do a cage match.
Yeah, with barbed wire.
But the thing though is that what fucked me up is that because I was trying to figure out, I was like, will everything have barbed wire? Like, will it be no rope? Like, I was just very like, what are we doing? And then, like, I told this one, and I told Mikey the same thing. I said the moment, and even though he claims Sammy's an acquaintance, but you already know that all them niggas can cost Eddie the match. So when Sammy wasn't in the fucking cage, I checked the fuck out. I said, y'all, that didn't make zero sense.
Sammy Guevara and Ty Khan's are gonna be interfering.
I didn't understand why Ruby was manhandling the fucking button because I was sitting here thinking like, oh shit, she about to turn on Eddie, and I would have actually popped for that. But I didn't understand why Ruby was like that.
Fun.
I didn't understand half of the shit that they thought they was gonna do. I didn't understand the key shit situation with Ty Conti trying to open up the fucking fake ass shark cage, and then the skinny niggas got out because they got through the bars. So that even made it worse for me. I was like, this shit is not even realistic at this point. And then Anna Jay turned in and helping her. I was just like, we got so much going on when first overbooked in 15. They gave them 15. That's how I also knew the fuckery was happening. The match was they started interests at 10:45. Yeah. No, at 9:45. I said, so they have 15 minutes on air for this? Like what? Like why would you do that?
It just wasn't good. And you have to like it didn't portray the best of both these men. Not all. You have somebody like Eddie.
It was 10 cents backwards because remember they had that dope ass match at was it Evolution?
Yeah.
That Eddie won clean. Fair ass match to then fast forward.
But I understand why they did the death match because it's a blood feud. So I get it.
But it wasn't even that.
But the thing about it was bad. It was just a really fucking bad match.
But you can't have the blow-off match be that, and then Eddie doesn't win. So it was just like, it was like, did Jericho book this for himself to win? Because they didn't. And if you were gonna do that, then bro, you don't. Then why do it?
I was so fucking annoyed with this shit.
He was just mad because he.
And I was like, yo, I really wanted it to be good. And that's the second time they done a death match, and the shit fucking sucked. Son, because the last one that they did when they
really should have did it on Rampage.
No, they should have did the fucking. They shouldn't do death matches
and gave them a full half hour.
I agree.
I'd have gave them half the show.
No, why? Because the shit sucked. It would have sucked for half an hour.
Well, it wouldn't have felt as rushed and sucked.
Exactly.
I think.
Come on, son, that shit was trash.
But and also too, I don't know. I checked out when Shane and Keith Lee was talking. I was like, the fuck are y'all talking about?
Yeah, and
what are we doing?
Was there, and Jermaine Dupri was
Listen,
there.
Tony, you put in Atlanta's finest. It still does not target. It doesn't hit the mark for us still, okay? I need you to build Jade to being a top fucking star instead of having Jermaine fucking Dupri come up looking like a lost child that doesn't know what the fuck is going on in wrestling. Like, no.
Do Kevin Gates rewatch wrestling?
I don't even know. The only nigga I know that really watch wrestling is West Side Guns because he was front row. Only nigga I know.
So why don't get West Side Guns? I give up.
No, first of all, I like Jermaine Dupri.
I don't know why.
Because it represented culture, and it made sense to me because they're in Atlanta. They were in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, so they were in Atlanta, so it made sense because Kiera's from and like home, born and raised in Atlanta. Jade Liz resides in Atlanta, Georgia.
Engulf yourself in that. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play, and we drop down beats like every day.
I would have, you know what? Really,
I think that's not the words, probably.
Definitely not it. But I would have appreciated if Jermaine Dupri would have came out and did the Welcome to Atlanta thing. That for me, I would have popped.
Okay. But at the same time,
him just coming out and Bivens fucking just talking and then Jade keep saying I'm that bitch. Yeah. But girl,
okay,
what
I
are we
understand
doing?
That. But still,
you just like to see Jermaine Dupri on the fucking show.
It was fire though.
And yes, and then you had Kevin Gates out there, and Kevin Gates is really snuffing niggas. He don't know how to hold the shit back.
Okay.
Really by the way, really nice guy. He comes to my gym and he's like super nice.
Kevin Gates?
Yeah, he was up here for, I don't know why he was in New York, but he came a couple times.
Right?
Mad tall. So he came a couple times, and he was like super nice. And I so the first time I saw him, I was like, yo, Kevin Gates, I fuck with your music, B. I like what you do. He's like, all right, cool. Yeah, you know, he's mad country. Like, yeah, I'm just here, just working out, man. And then
smiling, right?
Smiling. And then he's rapping while he's running, because you got to practice when you perform. So he's like, yeah, niggas want to shoot my shit. Niggas want to do bad loud. This is the future. Whatever he was saying. But he's running on the treadmill.
That makes sense.
But I understand why he's doing it. But there's all these like people who don't know who he is. Like, oh my God, why this big old black man with tattoos on his face?
Tony good for the special guests.
How's his energy?
Depending on the
fucking
city.
amazing. And then the next thing he saw him, he's like, hey, what up, brother? Came up to me and give me a dab. And my man's like, so y'all best friends now, huh?
Not a nigga tight.
So I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to get Kevin Gates on something. So
but is he a wrestling fan?
I don't know, but I'm all good with him being on AEW and snuffing Tony Nese, because Tony Nese don't get no love.
None. But you know what I will say though? Tony Nese came out with that ice. He came out with the blink, and I was like, holy shit,
I got an idea.
You for real? But other than that, yeah, the House of Black shit, I don't know what the fuck going on. I hate that Darby keeps losing. I'm not gonna hold you on that. I don't really agree with that, at all.
But it's realistic because he's losing. Because how can a little small guy be like a big nigga? According to wrestling facts.
He's done it before. No, but to me, it's
according
not.
To wrestling
but
Twitter.
You know what it is, though, and we'll wrap it up. For me, it's not even so much him losing the actual L. It's in the fashion. Like, if you're gonna lose, let it mean something. Yeah. I'm a big person. Like, it's not always the win and loses type of thing. Like, even though. And it goes back to even Becky and Bianca. When Bianca lost in 26 seconds, niggas was in an uproar. However, you didn't really see that in understating her loss was her biggest gain. And that's the story. And that's the meat and potatoes of it. So when they keep doing it to Darby, it's just like he's losing, but it's no meaning to it. It's pointless. Like, man, Cody's out here changing the world. And one promotion at a time. Any last things about AEW this week? Once again, this weekend's ROH's Death Before Dishonor. It will be available on Bleacher Report app, Fight TV app as well. I believe it's $40. So you can support where they have Jonathan Gresham versus Cesaro. They have the 2 out of 3 falls of the Briscoes and FTR. Mm-hmm. They have Jay Lethal versus Samoa Joe for the 18,000th time. They have Mercedes Martinez versus Serena Deeb. And then they announced Willow is on the pay-per-view against Allison Kay. Random as fuck, but as long as my girl Willow gets some time, I'm cool with it. And I feel like I'm missing 1 or 2 other things. But, the Pure title, Daniel Garcia versus Yuta is happening as well. So make sure you can, once again, check that on social media platforms or, once again, pay-per-view. And then next weekend, we'll be back at Legends for SummerSlam, so make sure to come out RSVP. It will be next Saturday night for SummerSlam. Indie stuff. If you are in the tri-state area this Saturday, shout out to Vince Steele and the good guys at Shadow Entertainment. They're doing their first tri-state area show out in Jersey, South Jersey. So make sure to go support with them. And then shout out to BCW. They're having a barbecue type of thing with Dirty Heels. Shout out to Dirty Heels podcast this Sunday. Yes. So make sure you can hit them up for more information for that. And then what else is coming up? Oh, Jobber Sam 2, guys.
And Black Girl Magic.
And Black Girl Magic. August 19th, August 20th, back-to-back a weekend of Black Excellence is what we're going to call it. So you can make sure if you are interested, once again, sponsoring or anything for either one of the shows, either you can, once again, for Black Girl Magic, hit up Taylor, or for Jobber Sam 2, you can hit me up directly if you're interested in sponsoring. Tickets are on sale for both shows, so make sure to come out and support. But other than that, we'll be here next week. We'll give our SummerSlam predictions. We may have a special guest. We do have someone in the studio here that actually is a really big wrestling fan. So we may ask her to hop on in for predictions as well. She's super dope and cool. So let's see what happens with that. But if not, you can check us once again. Support Sir Wilkins on his Complex Unsanctioned show. And then once again,
Fuck Prolific.
Okay. And once again, you can check out Mrblacc as he takes over the refereeing lanes here on the independent circuit. So make sure to support everybody that supports you. As always, I'm Janelle from HR here with Sir Wilkins and Mrblacc. Hashtag Black Excellence. Hashtag
Emotion. If you go a rolling, no need to focus. Traveling states and over oceans, you gotta wait till your coast chosen. Trying to have lines outside the show like Harry Potter releases at Barnes & Noble.